Hello, everyone, and thank you for joining us tonight. First, I want to thank all of our staff, board, volunteers, supporters, and especially our youth who make up this incredible community. And thank you to Laura Kim and the Monse team for this beautiful dress I'm wearing today. Thank you, Laura. Last year, I stood on this stage and spoke about my cancer journey. I shared about the support system I have at Apex and how our work together brings me strength and healing. I'm grateful to report that I continue to be in remission. Tonight, I'd like to start by sharing a bit about my 할머니, my maternal grandmother. Today is the anniversary of her passing. She lived in Korea during a time of occupation and war and was widowed by her 30s. Despite having almost no education, she ran her own fabric store for more than 50 years. She raised her 5 children alone, including my mom, putting each of them through college. Years later, after my parents met and I was born, my grandmother helped take care of me. After my little sister was born, my family immigrated to the US while my grandmother stayed in Korea. In our studio apartment in Flushing, my mom worked as a seamstress, sewing garments at home so she could take care of me and my sister. In the little free time my mom had, she taught us Korean songs and stories and practiced English diligently on a tape recorder. She dreamed of becoming a teacher, which she would achieve a few years later. As an adult, I would visit my grandmother in Korea with my mom and see how alike they were. They both wore their hearts on their sleeves, sharing their joys and their sorrows. They laughed out loud and cried for those in need. They were unapologetically themselves. My grandmother inspired my mom to become who she is, and my mom inspired me to become who I am. For those who weren't here last year, here's a glimpse of my mom and her immense joy. Oh my God. In case you couldn't tell, that's me saying, oh my God. As I said, always unapologetically herself. These 2 generations of women taught me what it means to show up fully in every way, with authenticity and vulnerability. They ignited these values in me, and I've worked to ignite this in Apex's culture. This is the powerful message we share with the 2,700 youth we serve every year. Be the full version of yourself. Be authentic. Be vulnerable. As I've continued to share my cancer journey, I've been moved by the people reaching out to me to thank me for my vulnerability and share their own cancer stories with me. I've also shared openly about my childhood growing up in a low-income immigrant household. This is still the reality for 1 in 2 Asian American youth living in or near poverty in New York City. And though Asian Americans make up 18% of our city's population, we receive less than 6% of social service funding. We need to dispel the pervasive model minority myths that Asian Americans have no needs, or that we should be held to a different standard. There is no shame in being low income or being ill. And the more we bring our challenges to light, the more we can normalize them and navigate them together. When our youth come through our doors, we invite them to be themselves and let go of the weight that they're carrying. They are safe to share their dreams, anxieties, and even crisis situations. Our staff, mentors, therapists, and coaches walk alongside them, helping them build confidence and agency in who they are. Apex's call for self-acceptance is meant for every one of us. But despite building this path for our youth, we adults, including myself, have a tough time being kind to ourselves, especially when we can't meet self-imposed expectations. Even after I spoke about my cancer journey last year on this stage, which took courage and vulnerability, my mind flooded afterwards with everything I had said the wrong way. Thankfully, I had caring people like BD Wong and our staff reminding me to be gentle with myself and the value of what I had shared. I've come to realize it is often easier to encourage others to find self-acceptance than it is to do it ourselves. In this time of division and conflict, what if we shared our hopes, fears, and needs with one another? The national and global issues we see today might be beyond our control, but in our own communities, we can ignite change. As supporters who have given so much to our youth, I invite you tonight to receive and think about your journey. When was the last time you felt you weren't enough? And when was the last time you allowed yourself some grace and compassion, perhaps even some healing? I invite you to share this with others during the dinner break and even beyond tonight. Let's continue to show up with vulnerability and compassion for each other and ourselves. Know that we are part of a collective movement in this room tonight, igniting healing and lasting change in our world. Thank you. Before we move into introducing tonight's student speaker, I wanted to take a moment to shout out last year's student speaker, Ashley. She doesn't know that we're doing this. Where is she? Okay. You might remember her from last year. Speaking of courage and vulnerability, Ashley spoke about her 10-year journey at Apex, learning to build confidence and pride in our Asian identity. What makes her story even more special is that soon after the gala and graduating from college, she started a full-time role as digital and social media coordinator at Apex. So all that amazing, dynamic social media content you see is our very own Ashley. And she is incredible. Ashley's gonna be upset with us afterwards. Next, I have the pleasure of introducing someone in our community who's made a huge impact on the life of a young person, walking alongside him to become the person he is today. Aiden Lee is a mentor of our student speaker, Eric Wren, and I can't wait for you to learn more about their very special relationship. Please give Aiden a warm welcome.